Alright, so I've been playing with this. The only way to do it is to cut them and change them and work them till you get them to be about the right shape. So this fits really nicely against there. That's flat against the base. It's got that nice backward leaning angle, and I think for all intents and purposes this is ready to go on, but I'm going to this is going to be my template for all of the others. There may be some changes, but I'm not going to use this one for here. Okay, so here's the new one against the old plastic Warrior. It's not perfect, but it's great. Okay, and this is my template for the next little piece. I'll make it a bit bigger for each of them, and then I'll have to cut them down. But I also want that little slot. I'm not going to make this quite the same shape as it is on the... In fact, I've reduced one piece here just to make it a bit easier to make. One panel. But that should be good. Alright, this is the beauty of scratch building. As you go, you just continually have to look at what you've been doing and thinking, is that better than the previous one? Suck that, Dean's Marine. And here's another two. Not completely perfect, but from a distance they're just going to look amazing, and of course these are going to tilt upwards. How good is that? Wouldn't have been that hard to make that better. Anyway, there you go. These are just going to look stunning, aren't they? Wow. I think now the next step is to go from building these to constructing the components that go under them to control the turning and the elevation of the guns. Okay. So I've been thinking about how to elevate these guns. The mechanism's going to have to sit below deck, so I need something to pull it down. I thought this through and decided on a course of action this morning in bed, and I've been doing that today. Firstly, just to drill a couple more holes exactly the same as these, using the same material, so it's a very nice fit. Secondly, to silver solder onto here a lug this little lug. It's got the same thickness on here. I've drilled and tapped a hole in there, and this, so the way this is simply going to work is that that's going to go into there. Oops, I'm sure it's going to go in. Oops, that's it, now it's in. When I put the little screw in there, it's going to hold it firmly and it's going to rotate around this shaft, and I think that's going to be good because it's also going to hold it in place. I'll shorten these up, and because of the screw on there it won't come out either way. I think that's pretty good. Okay, I've just ground a little bit of material off here. It's easier to do it this way than to have a slot that it fits into, or a hole, but that's it. Very nice, very nice. And I think this is going to look, I think it's going to work really well. So I have to put a hole in the deck which will take the place of what's going to rotate, but I also need a semicircle which is going to take this as it turns around. That'll be fine. All self-explanatory as we go along. So I've now put a hole around here which appears to be about the right spot. I've got the central, this is all very delicate right now. I've got the central hole in there. That's it. that sits underneath, and I can now turn that around happily. Oh, that's great, that's lovely. Because it's going to be running with servos, it won't go more than 180 degrees anyway, so that's fine. Next step that I've got to think through is how to remove it all. I want to be able to remove all of the equipment underneath when I extract the gun, and I think the best way of doing that is what I've done with a couple of the other boats, which is actually to cut a section of this out. It doesn't need to be too big, but it needs to be, I'll need to be able to access it. So it means that it might have to go through here and about through here. I'll have to put some plate underneath and then put screws there and there, so I can unscrew this and the whole thing will come out with all of the servos underneath. Have to think about that. Okay, now I'm wanting to finish these off, and this difficult part is that we have this arrangement here that's at a higher level than the main guns, and it's for closing and shutting the breeches, opening the breeches. That's meant to be parallel, of course it's not, but they will be on mine. But the question is, how the hell do you make that? That's quite a complicated piece of work. So I'm going to have to connect something on here and bend it around, and I've already just started marking out my plastic. It's going to take a bit of grinding. And the way it looks like is that this is going to be the bottom of the barrels down there. I need a piece of material that's 10 mil high, 15 mil wide and 15 mil long, and these are at 12.5 mil, these two barrels. So I'm going to cut these pieces out, drill these holes, get them to work, and then file off that inner section and file off that other section. It's going to be a little bit tedious, but that seems to be the only way I can think of making these parts. Okay, so I've got the holes all lined up. They're all working. Slips into there with a little bit of pressure. I'm going to drill this. I'm going to grind that out next. See how we go. The perfect tool for this.